Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on the Sony FX9. In this video, I'm going to go through how I kit out my camera, what I use on it, what are the must-have accessories for when you're using the FX9. Okay, so this is my rig here. This is kind of how I got it set up for a lot of my different shoots. And you can see I got quite a few different things on here, but I'm going to go through first some of the key things, some of the main things you need to have, in my opinion, the things you need to have when you're using an FX9. And the main thing, and this comes from the FS7, I don't know why Sony has not changed this, and I had the shape handle on the FS7 as well, on my FS7. They make a new one for the FX9. It's a little bit different. This is a must-have. So when you have the Sony handle on, you can't lay this camera flat. You can't move this around. You can't get it up this high at all because it gets stuck. You can go down farther like this, but that's it. You can't go up farther than that. So you can't lay the camera flat, and you can't go up like this. So for me, the shape handle is a must-have because if I want to be able to move quick, I'm going to be using a handheld and have it up like this so I can have the camera up in here, and then I want to go forward, I want to get this on my shoulder, I can pop it up over, move over here, bring it down again. I can get this on my shoulder, get this going very comfortably. I can extend the handle here, get that out. Makes it much quicker to work with this shape handle on here. So I would say that is a must when you're using this. I think everybody should be selling the camera with a handle like this. And the shape one is the best one I've seen so far out there, and it works very quickly. Their technology for pushing this in and going out. The next thing I would recommend getting is a monitor, an external monitor. The new eyepiece on the new viewfinder on the FX9, and this actually I have the Zacuto, how do we say it wrong, Zacuto, you guys can correct me in the comments. Their eyepiece on here, I took this off of my FS7, same one fits onto it, so I don't have the big giant Sony one on here, which I don't like at all, but the actual monitor or the EVF in here is the same. I think it's a higher resolution than the FS7, but it's still not great, and it's pretty small. It's not touch screen, so I think if you want to get some accurate focus and be using a monitor, I would suggest using an external monitor. I have the SmallRig Focus 7 on here. It can run for a long time. Later on, when the upgrade comes out for the raw output, when I'm using the extension back, I'll be using my Atomos Inferno on here because I need an external recorder to be able to do the ProRes RAW into it, or DNG RAW, or doing the high frame rates. You need to have a recorder, but I prefer when I'm not using an external recorder to be using my SmallRig because it runs way longer, pulls less battery power that way, so it runs longer that way, doesn't pull as much power, and I like the image off of it better as well. I find it very accurate and a lot of great features you can have in there. So that's another thing there. So the next feature, I'd say an upgrade when you get an FX9 is having some kind of cheese grid up top. So Shape makes one, Tilta makes one. This is one from SmallRig. There's ones that you can use the original handle and have it on here, and it just goes around it, and you have a bunch of different places to mount things. Benefit of using the original handle is that if you want to use the hot shoe in the front, you can do that with the Sony recorder, and that will go straight through that. You'll be powering the audio, sorry, not recorder, the audio receiver on the top of the handle. I have one of those, but I very rarely used it, and I rather have a setup where I can, with this is actually a SmallRig handle as well, where I can kind of quickly move stuff around on here to get a bit more micro adjustments on the placement. I have some more mounting points on here, and then if I wanted to quickly break this down, I can slide this off and slide this right off the camera, and I can get that out of here. So it makes it a bit quicker that way, to be able to move that stuff around and be a bit modular. I can take the handle off quicker. I can then pack that into a little smaller bag. I do like this setup. It does add some weight to it, so does the top handle here. And the next thing is I'm using the wooden cameras EVF extension arm here. So it's this piece here and this here. It allows you to move this around quite a bit more quickly in here. You can move this here back and forth. You have a bit more adjustments. And if I'm getting this on my shoulder, this can allow me to get this eyepiece quite a bit farther out in front of me to counterbalance the camera on there. For my small HD monitor, what I'm using on top here is a SmallRig's rotatable and articulating monitor holder here. All these pieces I'm talking about here, guys, I have linked in the description below, so you can go and check those things out and see for yourself. The next thing I have on top here is the Tentacle Sync. I have this with their cold shoe adapter here, and I just leave this on the camera when I'm shooting with the timecode generator, so I can have the exact same timecode as the audio recorder or the audio recordist that's working with me, or if we're doing audio ourselves, I have that going also into our audio recorder as well. So we're all synced up there. You got timecode because you have timecode built into the FX9 now over the FS7. You don't need to have the extension back in there, so that's a great feature. And then I just have a wireless. This is the Hollyland wireless transmitter on here, and then using with a director's monitor. Don't always use this because a lot of times I'm out shooting myself, and I am the director and shooter, and might have a assistant with me. But in some other scenarios where we do have a director with us or a client with us, and having a client monitor, this is a great wireless system and easy to have on. And I can have like this, and I can easily kind of move this around and get onto tripod. The other thing I'm using when I'm using this handheld mode a lot of times is right now I have the Manfrotto Plate on the bottom, so I can slide that into one of my tripods. When I'm using it on a bigger tripod, I will use this setup, which is a SmallRig's shoulder pad there, which has the VTC mount, so I can put that onto another tripod. And it also gives me a big shoulder pad here when I want to go shoulder mounted on it. I can be up here, and I can move the camera on this and get it very balanced for me and how I feel it's going to work the best when it's on my shoulder. I can also move it quickly that way and get it on the side here. It, again, does add more weight to it. I do like a heavier camera typically than a lighter camera. I find a heavier camera gives a little bit more stability to it and helps for smoother shots, actually, when I'm doing handheld stuff. It's a funny thing in thinking that a heavier camera causes less fatigue in some scenarios, because you can balance a heavier camera on your shoulders. When you're moving with a heavier camera, that weight on it just allows it to move a bit more smoothly. Over a smaller camera, when you're trying to hold it and keep it still, you really have to focus and kind of clench your arms together to get that movement. This seems to me, and it's a personal preference, that a heavier camera for me I like working with more. I find it smoother. Obviously this is not something you're going to throw in a gimbal and do something that way, but as a main kind of A-cam, this is my typical setup. So let me know in the comments, guys, what are the accessories you think are must-have for the FX9? What do you like about my rig? What do you not like about my rig? If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. Please think of subscribing to the channel. We're going to have more content coming out like this, and we'll see you on the next one.